What's going on, everybody? What do we got today? Today it is August 5th here in south central Wisconsin. It's been about a month since the last time I shot a video for you guys, the Switchgrass series. And today I'm going to be showing you a few different things, some changes that I'm making, but going to be showing you guys also the update on the Quinclorac spraying that I did about a month ago. So where I am here now is I am in field 2. So just a quick refresher, this is the field that had the worst, I guess considered soil, and it was the field that I saw the least amount of switchgrass coming up in. So turn the camera here around. So as you can see, looks a little different. I have done a little work in here. I guess I will first start with the Quinclorac portion. So like I said, field 2, 2-year-old switchgrass here, and came in with the Quinclorac, and you can see it definitely killed or put a real good hurting on the foxtail, which is a lot of this green grass in here. It definitely knocked back some of the broadleaves as well, but it did not kill them. So you can see like this milkweed kind of made the stuff curl a little bit, but it did not kill it. The foxtail in this portion, like I said, it definitely did enough, I'd say, to kill it. It stopped growing. Only thing that I think I would do different is I should have sprayed this earlier. So you can kind of see up in front of me the rows. So that's the rows for the sprayer. So the stuff was actually a fair amount taller. It almost seems like a trunk, kind of weird, but it started to lay down a little bit. But the boom sprayer wasn't able to fan all the way out, so I probably should have sprayed this stuff sooner. And I didn't make that decision, but I guess the meat and potatoes, how does the switchgrass look? So kind of in the center of the field here. So this is the big portion of switch here. This is that older stuff that I got. See, it looks pretty good. Stuff's actually kind of laying down. We had some nasty weather come through here about a week ago now, and we had 80 to 90 mile per hour winds. So, but I mean, even that 80 to 90 mile per hour winds, storm was coming out of the north, which was that way. I mean, you can see how wide open this was, and you know, some of it laid down a little bit, but most of it's still standing. But this stuff here, all is 6 feet tall, looking good. So to the switchgrass, the 2-year stuff. So got here, you can see a couple pieces here, some switch, and it actually taints the color just a little bit. So it kind of puts this purple on it. It almost gives it that look of, you know, like a brassica when it doesn't get enough nutrients or something. It's got like that reddish maroon purple color to it. But overall, the switch is very much alive. Piece there, you know, piece there, some pieces here, there. Here we got one, you know, here. So this is the interesting part. So this is 2-year switch, right? So this 2-year switchgrass almost looks like year 1 switchgrass. It's short. I mean, like this here is 2 feet maybe. You know, I got some friends that have some other switchgrass, and their 2-year stuff is like 5 feet. But again, this is the field with the worst soil quality, I say. So this was all standing pine trees. So the pH here is probably pathetic. But this was all pine trees, boy, maybe 10 years ago. So the pH is, I'm sure, is low. But yeah, overall the switch is, it looks good. You know, here's a piece. There's a real short one. Some short ones here. It's a little bit bigger patch here. But the Quinclorac definitely helped. I was able to see where the switchgrass was, and overall it did not kill the switch. So changes to this field number 2. So I laid in bed, and for like the last 3 weeks, I'd say, I've been tossing and turning about what to do with this field. So I knew I did not want to basically start over, because I'm very curious, and I wanted to give this field the full at least 3 years of I guess a test to see what it did in this poor soil and up in this corner here. So what I did was I ended up disking this lower half here. see next to these willows and this edge right here. So I chose these two spots because these also got sprayed with Quinclorac, and the foxtail was a little bit shorter, especially along this edge here. Foxtail is only maybe 8 inches high, maybe 10 inches, maybe a foot, something like that. So I got a really good burn off with the Quinclorac, and I could see that there was virtually no switchgrass, especially up in this edge. There was a little bit down here, but not a ton. So what I decided I was going to do was going to make this plot kind of a extended test plot. So I have my 2-year switch here right in front of me. I got the probably 4-year clump right there. So what I'm going to do this fall, and actually what I'm going to do today, is I'm going to plant this lower half here with this Deadly Dozen real world stuff, just to try it, basically to get some sort of crop in here. So I'm only going to plant this lower half with this food plot mix, which is roughly, I don't know, I think it's probably close to 6,000 square feet, something like that, 1/8 of an acre, I would say. And then this portion over here, I am not going to plant with anything right now. So my thought process moving forward here is, what I'm going to do in this lower half, like I said, I'm going to plant that in this Deadly Dozen mix here, and then I am going to frost seed switchgrass into that this fall, into the Deadly Dozen here. On this half, what I'm going to do, so now the next couple months, you know, it's already early August here, so we don't get a ton of new growth, but I am going to frost seed switchgrass, same stuff. I'm going to use the Ernst switchgrass seed here, and that's the Shawnee variety. I got some of that left over from this past year, and I didn't really get a true test on that either. As the area that I planted it, we ended up plowing it over with a dozer after we kind of did some leveling around our ponds, so that stuff all got buried. But that I still have, I think, like 10 pounds or so left, so I got actually more than enough to plant this area. But I'm going to plant this stuff at the same time, so that's going to be this fall. So that's going to give that stuff excellent seed to soil contact here. You can see, you know, I just disked this up a half hour ago. You can see the dirt there, and I will spray this. So I'm going to keep the weeds basically down to nothing. I want this just bare dirt going into the winter, and then this fall, once the soil temps are cooled off, air temps are cooled off, and I know that the seed won't germinate, I will basically frost seed this area and maybe run a drag over it. We'll see. I'm still debating about that. But this area here, said this will be food plot. I'll frost seed into there, and this is just going to be a test area. You know, it's just this whole back corner back here. It's just kind of a nice spot to basically take the worst, you know, seed or the worst soil that I have on the property and give it a shot. So that's my plan for this back field. Overall too, how the switchgrass looks back here, the stuff that is still up, it does, can definitely say I am seeing more switch. It seems like every time I come out here, especially now after spraying the Quinclorac, you know, I am seeing quite a bit. You know, just this little patch here. You know, you got some here, you got a bunch here, good clump, and there's a fair amount. It's just spread real wide, and you know, like I said, I don't want to have it crazy thick. I'm not looking for that. I want it to be, you know, thick enough, but I'm not looking for something super thick. So we'll see how this pans out. You know, I said this is year 2. This stuff probably looks, to some other people, this would look like year 1. You know, like maybe I just did some things wrong. I'm not sure what I would have done wrong. Broadcasting, I mean, you can drill it in, but I really wanted to try the broadcast because we do not have a drill. And if you guys are like me, I don't have a ton of money to go and either rent a drill or buy a drill or whatever. So, but overall, this field's definitely coming in better. You know, take a look here and you can see some broadleaves area here that I missed with the simazine. You know, that's just another prime example. This strip here, I missed with the simazine this spring. See the difference? I haven't mowed this at all this year. You know, this little strip right next to me to my right too. So yeah, so that's going to be the plan for field 2. So I will show you the other two fields, and I apologize ahead of time if this video is a little bit long, but just want to keep you guys up to date on what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and the process I'm going to go about it. And it'll be interesting to see with this field here, field 2. You know, am I going to see a lot better switch stand next spring? We'll see. You know I didn't see anything for back here in year 1 because I did mow this, and I'm going to treat, you know, this area just like I would any other year 1. I'm going to do all the same things. I'll simazine it, I'll spray it, and I'll definitely mow it. So we will head up to field 3 now. Alright, so here we are up in field number 3, and pan around here a little bit and give you guys a show for the second field that I treated with the Quinclorac. Again, you can kind of see the rows where the sprayer was. This stuff was definitely taller than field number 2, but yeah, it definitely killed some of the foxtail. This field 2, so did a little bit of walking around in here prior to me starting this video, and at first I was pretty disgruntled with not a lot of switch in here, but I get out and I start really looking, definitely see that there's more in here than I thought, which is good, obviously. So I got this one right here by the 4-wheeler, you know, I got a couple right there, you know, and even here. So this is a prime example of one that's just really short, so it's almost hidden in the foxtail. But right there is one. You know, you can see all this other foxtail here is all dying off. It's got the reddish on it, but you can see there's a real small switch in there. And when I started walking real slow and just taking my time, I mean, I'm starting to see switch, you know, every few feet here, every 3 feet or so, which is, for me, for what I wanted, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, I mean, obviously that can change, see what comes up next year, but as of what I'm seeing now, I really like it. So this field, I gave some thought to if I would mow this, but I think I'm just going to hold off. So now here's like an individual piece of switch right here. Get a good look at it there. See, it's all headed out. But that stalk right there is probably 4 feet. You know, it's just one single. But as it bushes out, you know, it'll be a lot bigger. So, you know, you figure you got one right here. I got another one up. You know, this is about 3 feet. So there's probably 3.5 feet between them. There's actually another one right here, real tiny one. But by the time those things get bushed out, similar to that one in field number 2, I mean, there's not a lot of room in between those. So we'll see how it goes. I don't want it over thick, but pretty happy. So this was the part of the field that I thought was the most scarce for switch. And as I walk in here, I'm starting to see quite a bit more. I mean, I got a couple here, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, they're all said there's in a 10-foot space. You know, there's maybe 10 to 15 individual stalks here. So this was the area here where I thought it was the thinnest. Now I'll go over to the area that's the best in this field. You're starting to see here, starting to see quite a bit more. You know, this is a pretty good tall one here. This is, you know, this is probably at least all 4 or 5 feet, and it looks good. Not headed out yet, but there's a lot more in here, a lot thinner. Here's a good spot where the Quinclorac. So this area, actually, sprayer quit working, and in this area I ended up going over it probably like 3 times. So I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I mean, you can see this stuff got a real good burn on it, but in this stuff, I mean, there's switch in it too that I ran over multiple times. And this one's got a little bit of purple on it, on its leaves here. But it's certainly alive. Another tall one right next to it. And this area down here is really starting to explode. Get down here, you guys can see that, but a couple real good clumps starting here. But the stuff it's patchy. I don't know if it's, I mean, when I say patchy, I mean like height wise. So this stuff is definitely a lot taller, thicker, closer than what I just showed you over there on the other side of the 4-wheeler. But if you notice here, from a weed standpoint, this is a lot different. So this foxtail in here is shorter, and there was not as much weed competition along this whole edge. So that back corner up there is real good too. But the foxtail was just a lot taller over here. So I don't know if it had some weed competition. I mean, last year when I mowed everything at the same time, but I don't know. Just kind of interesting, but see some real good, lot of switch showing up in here. That's the cool part about this Quinclorac too, you know, when you do spray it, I'll be honest, I was freaking out. I was definitely nervous. But now that it's sprayed and I know the switch will make it, you know, I'm real confident about it. And you know, next year, my year one switch, or you know, if this stuff needs it too, I won't be nearly as scared to do it, and I'll probably do it a lot earlier. Yeah, this up in this back corner too, this is that area in this field that's always been really good. Now you can see this stuff just starting to head out a little bit of it. It's neat to see. But I think the real test will be next year. Oh, here's a good patch up in this back corner here. We'll see what this stuff all is next year. I mean, I expect for this field to get a really good look at what it is going to look like, you know, in the next couple of years. So pretty happy with it so far. But I will quick take you guys to field number 1. Just spend about a minute there. I've done a lot of talking in this video, and I know you guys don't like to hear me talk, so. But yeah, we will head over to field number 1, and we will conclude the video over there. All right. Field number 1, and the final field that I'll be filming for you guys. So I got a little path cut here heading into the woods. So this field, see, we got some foxtail in here. I did not spray this with the Quinclorac. This is the only field I did not do that with, just in case for some reason killed everything. This was my best field for switch. And I know it's hard for you guys to see, but there's a fair amount here, so let's kind of show you some here. We got one right here, we got one right here, here, you know, quite a few. It's that darker grass, and it's easier to see now too with the foxtail all headed out. You can see the stuff a little bit easier. You can see some right there. Some of the stuff is headed out. So here's a piece. This is right around that, probably the height it should be for year 2. So this piece right here is probably 4.5 feet. See another one right behind me here. Same, that's probably closer to 5. But this stuff looks good. Like I said, this field I did not spray, as you can tell. Just a lot of foxtail and some other broadleafs showing up in here. But I'm going to leave this field be. So something I did not mention in the other quick clips here was, so here in Wisconsin, it's been very dry. So the weatherman the other day was saying that we are like 11 inches short on rain, the rain average for this time of year. So I don't know if that plays a factor in, you know, how this switch is doing. My buddy that's north of me about an hour, they've had more rain than we have, but not a lot more, and his is a lot taller. So again, it could just be soil situation too. You can see here we're on top of a hill a little bit, but yeah, so it's been a dry year. Not sure if that plays a factor or not, but regardless, it is what it is. You don't have the perfect growing conditions every year. But this field too, so something I might think about doing this spring, I'm going to contemplate over the winter, is potentially burning these fields in the spring. If we do have a dry spring, and the snow gets gone, you know, pretty quick, I might burn just to get this foxtail off. I've heard that you should burn, or you can burn, and I've heard that you should not burn until at least 3-4 years. But right now I am leaning towards burning these fields, but I got about 6 months to think about that. So we'll see what we decide there. But that'll be it for this portion of the Switchgrass series post Quinclorac treatment. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will check in again in another month or so as we are getting real close to bow season here. We got just over a month and we're gonna have the bow in hand. So we'll see. We got that whitetail shift should be happening here in the next month or so. Start seeing some new bucks on camera, and for this property, that's when we start seeing more bucks show up. Is usually September, October. We see a lot more bucks kind of enter the property. So excited to see what shows up this year. We know there's some good ones in the area. I do have some good ones on camera on various properties around the area. So we'll see what shows up. Thank you guys for watching another video of the Switchgrass series, and we'll catch you on the next one.